Joining me tonight on Talking Pints is former bodyguard to the stars, now a business owner, an actor. There's nothing this man can't do. It's Simon Newton. Well, cheers.
Cheers, mate.
Nice to meet you. Thank you very much for coming in. Also, full disclosure, I must say, sorry to shatter the illusion, everybody. This is actually apple juice, all right? OK, so that gets me out of trouble. Right, so how are you?
I'm well, you?
Yeah, very well. Thank you both for coming in. I know it's going to be a bit short and sweet. You can blame Sir Graham Brady for that. You can probably take him out, to be fair, if you want to. But,
I'll have a word.
So talk to me a bit about you first. So you're a former bodyguard to the stars. Just what was that all about?
That was a hectic 17 years. Started off with the military, and then I kind of, while I was in the military, I kind of got offered a job in the private security world, working in the Middle East. So straight away, that was my transition into becoming a bodyguard, which I kind of hadn't planned that early on. I was only about 24 at the time.
Oh, wow.
So I was very young, yeah. I got a job working in Iraq quite early on. So, yeah, I did that for quite a number of years. I left there, went to Afghanistan for a number of years, working from a Commonwealth office as a coast protection officer. I went on to ship security, oil tankers, LPG tankers out in the Gulf of Aden for anti-piracy.
Gosh, you don't mess about, do you?
No, lots of tick all the boxes. And then I come back into London, where I started with Middle Eastern royal family, and everything sort of took off from there, from London. Yeah, I mean, it's gone from there, really, to what it is today.
Yeah, and I mean, just we're going to move on in a little bit, because obviously Shinzo Abe got assassinated as a former PM. So I want to talk to you about that. But I think just, look, people like me, right, who are just civvies, I suppose, are absolutely fascinated by people like you. Right. You must have had some incredibly hairy moments.
Yeah, of course, certainly working away. In the UK, we're quite lucky. It's, you know, it can be risky at times, but not so much in the UK. Middle East, obviously, working in, you know, war-torn countries, if you like, it was rough some days. Right. But not all the time. You're not living that day every day. So, yeah, of course, yeah. Some rough
and you were, is it right, am I right to say you were bodyguard to Michael Jackson?
I was, yeah, 2006.
What was that like?
Hectic. It was good fun. I didn't fully appreciate the job. I was 26 years old. Right. And it was another job for me at the time, and I took it on, and yeah, it's just...
Was he as weird as he looked?
He was quiet. He's
Quiet?
Very subdued, quiet man, yeah.
I'm not being funny, but, you know, did you have to step in at time? Was it more mad fans, or was it, like, actual threats to life?
No, it wasn't threats to life, but the fans were super mad for some of them. But there's 5 of us on that job. You wouldn't be able to look after someone like that on your own, really. It's a big job, 3 or 4 vehicles. Difficult to move them around. But, yeah, I mean, it's a good job for me at that age again. It was a good job. Absolutely.
Now, I just want to move on because look, sorry, we got squeezed by Sir Graham Brady, right? But classic. But look, in terms of what went on in Japan, I mean, you can look at it from a professional element of it. So basically, a guy came up behind the former Prime Minister and shot him twice.
Yeah.
I mean, that shouldn't have been allowed to happen, obviously.
It shouldn't have been allowed to happen, but there's a lot of circumstances. From what I mean, I've only got the footage, what everyone's seen to go by. Obviously, I don't know anything other than that. So, first of all, it's very different to comment correctly on that because you only can go what the rest of the world can see. To my knowledge, it's a handmade.
Yeah, it was.
Handmade firearm. There was no sort of intelligence before that. The guy was a lone wolf, if you want to call him that. Yeah. It's very difficult to combat that. You know, you can't treat everybody as hostile. Right. There was no indicators at all that was going to happen. And just because you've got a 12-man or 20-man or 30-man security team doesn't mean say you're invincible. But that 1% of, if they closed the security net to sort of a good 3%, you know, to keep it tight, some days, unfortunately, that 3% gets touched. Yeah. And that's what happened that day, really.
Just very, very quickly, I'm going to shout it out here, but I want one more. Do you have to constantly be on alert? And does that have an impact on you? Because can you switch off or not?
Outside of work?
Well, when you're at work, you must have to be on it all the time. And does that have a knock-on effect?
You get used to it. Right. When you're out, if you're in a container, so you're in a hotel, if the person you're looking after is away, it's fine, forget about it. But as soon as you step out of that hotel to wherever you're going to you're back in that hotel that day, it's constantly on it all the time. And if you leave it a second, it can go wrong.
Well, I'll tell you what, rather you than me, mate. Look, thank you very much. Cheers. I'm sorry it was short and sweet, like I said, but you picked a bad news day to come on, unfortunately, or a very good news day, depending on which way you're looking at it. Cheers, mate.
You're welcome.
Let's chat again soon, mate. Yeah, I'm fascinated by you. That was Simon Newton, of course. And frankly, there was loads more to get stuck into there, but former bodyguard to the stars, now a business owner and an actor as well. And I tell you what, he seems like quite a nice chap to boot.